attacks, the hook and the straight punch. The hook comes in this way. Okay? Now, Disuto to the neck. I haven't arrested his forward motion. Then I would chain to the other techniques. Let's see how this looks fast. Okay, notice I've retained him. I've got this limb, it's not getting away from me. Okay? Now, what often happens is you will get the other strike. Block it at the source. Understand the idea of ducking in and blocking a punch at the source rather than out here. We're going to do this one more time. I block the shot that I feel come in here. Now he's pretty much mine. I've hit him with the Disuto, momentarily stunned him. That allows me to chain immediately to a strike to the solar plexus. So that I compound this boom with this boom. Then I've already got him here, so I'm spinning, bam, bam if necessary. Most common attack, second to the hook, is the straight punch. First of all, you've got to learn to read the cues that precede a punch. Dropping of a shoulder, all that. It's awareness. Experience shows you, once you have some experience, man, you can just, you know when they're about to punch. You see it before it happens. And training can help you do that. But look here. I step out of the attack line. Notice I'm blocking with an open hand. I'm not arresting forward motion. By not arresting forward motion, by not arresting his forward motion, like blocking it, something like this, the effect is his mind doesn't know the punch has failed yet, so he doesn't go to the next technique immediately. That buys me time. It also draws him in to my strike. Stepping out of the attack line, heel of palm to the nose, open hand throat shot, Disuto to artery here, carotid artery, vagus nerve. Let's see what it looks like a little faster. Okay, here, this is the way things work. As he moves forward, I feel his head pitch forward. So I combine the impact. I went to vertical fist. Observe. Shit. Hey. 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 Chain technique. Look at it one more time with speed. Then perhaps the throw. Key concepts I want to get across here are continuous attack, stepping out of the attack line, open hand blocking. Groin attacks are generally overrated by most persons. In my experience, people instinctively protect their groins. Let's look at this technique for a groin attack. Give him front choke. All right. Excellent. Now observe that what he's doing is, first, not only is he blocking out the vision, when he actually does it for real, there'll be a Timmy strike here that knocks his head back and lines up the spinal column, and that's what throws him out here. And then, instead of punching, he's striking down, hitting the gonads against the pelvic girdle. Let's see it one more time, front choke. Suto. Notice it's also setting him up for the follow-up shots. Continuous attack. Continuous attack. Once is not enough. Up. Okay, let's look at Mr. Stein's defense against hook punch. Hook punch, slowly. Okay, notice what he does here. Fundamental principles again. He steps off the attack line, number one. Perceives and steps off the attack line. Absolutely fundamental to understand this. It demands that you perceive the attack line. Does not arrest forward motion, draws the hand, drawing a face, bam, into the elbow. Now from here, Suto. Easily. Knee strikes. Let's see that with a little speed. Oh, very powerful, very powerful. Okay? Okay. Straight punch, slow. Same idea, he's using the knee here. Pulling him into the knee, dropping into the solar plexus. Again exposing him, Suto. Okay. Heel of palm, other chaining technique, continuous attack. Okay. Let's see that one at moderately fast speed. Okay. The point is, it's your evasion of the blow. You're stepping off the attack line properly and stretching and drawing out your opponent by not arresting his forward motion, not trying to block like this or this sort of thing. That exposes the vulnerable areas of the body to the atemi strikes that are the subject of our film. This is a somewhat advanced technique, kotagaishi. However, I demonstrate it here to show you how we can set up some of the atemi strikes that we've looked at all through the film. Observe closely. Here is an attack, very common. Each of us, especially working as bouncers in the bar, saw it so many times. It's a primitive attack, but it's usually effective and works. Yet it's easily defeated also. A Canadian bouncer, Mr. Hayes, dubbed it the rhino for rhinoceros. Here's what happens. The man comes forward and grabs me. Bam, I fly against the wall and I'm opened up. Oh, bam, now it's all over. He uses his forward body inertia to get my body moving. Then when I hit the wall, I open up, bam, see what the natural bam, now I gets the targets and it's all over. The mistake most people make, the most common mistake, you see it every time in the bar, is they see the person coming forward and they root in, but it's no good because this guy's already moving, he's got inertia, bam, bam. Now, let me say this again. The common mistake, the fatal mistake in the rhino attack, so often made, is simply not identifying the line of attack and stepping out of the line of attack. Simple as it may seem, people don't do it. They're see force charging towards them, and they root in to resist that force. Well, that's contesting power, something you really never want to do. Okay? Let me point something else out. A Timmy is the whacking people. Now, you can whack people with your hand, or you can whack people with the wall, or the floor, or the fire hydrant, or the automobile bumper once you get them moving. When a person attacks you with a rhino, he gives you the ideal opportunity to step off the attack line, redirect his inertia. Let's take a look at two types of rhinos. One that comes at low gait and one that comes at high gait. Key concept again. It looks simple, and it is simple with a little practice. Step off the attack line. Step to the corner. Redirect inertia. Stepping off the attack line. Also notice how he used his environment, a wall, to make the Atemi strike. And also how he controlled the orientation with which the person hit to maximize the damage if that were required, such as if a person was attacking with a knife, then to take technique we call the Chinese train wreck, lining up the cervical spaces and bam, right into the wall. But this sort of thing is potentially lethal and is only justified when it is a life and death attack like that. When you really get this stuff down, though, you can control the amount of damage you do appropriate to the situation. Stepping off the attack line. Here we're looking at some variations of the rhino. Very common attack once again. The rhino is sometimes an attempt to choke. All right? We'll look at some defenses against that choke. Again, with emphasis on how we set up the Atemi. And we may also see another variation of the Chinese train wreck. Pay particular attention to footwork. Notice the footwork in stepping off the attack line versus the footwork in this sequences. The real difference is how far the entrance has been made into the attack. Somewhat advanced technique, but it does illustrate the principles.
Ideally, I really don't want him to grab me at all, so as it comes in, I brush it past, keep it going, use that for the strike, peel him back, and look for an obstruction. Inverted Chinese train wreck. Let's see a little
Martial arts training puts a great deal of emphasis on technique. Technique is how to punch, particular way of blocking, particular way of throwing. Technique. But techniques, important as they are, necessary as they are, do not win fights. Let me say this. Concept is more important than technique. Technique is, he does this, I do that. I strike this way. But if you go into an actual fight looking for your favorite technique, waiting or looking for the opportunity to get the technique, you're going to go down hard to the pavement looking for that technique. This is why it is said it is a mistake for the warrior to have a favorite weapon. Okay, because then he's thinking technique rather than concept. Concepts are things like continuous attack, economy of movement. My hand comes back, so now it flows to the next technique, economy of movement. Continuous attack, stepping off the attack line. These are concepts, and they can be applied to any type of attack once reasonably mastered. Techniques are more limited and are more specific. In real fight situations, all the years I've studied karate, I've never had the opportunity to use a sequence of kata techniques in a real fight. It just doesn't happen that way. Sometimes you must create the technique on the spot. And if you've mastered the concepts, continuous attack, economy of movement, flowing and blending, stepping off the attack line, then you can flow into it, and however he attacks, you've got something. You don't get hit right off the bat. Now, we're going to show some simple, and they are techniques, but I show them primarily to show concepts. Typical attack is the guy grabs you to punches you. Okay, now you may try and step away, pull away. That's contesting power. So what happens is, bam, he hits you while you're doing that. All right? Consider this, not contesting power. He wants to grab a hold of me, fine. First thing I do is pin his hand there. Now, this arm isn't a danger to me, and before it can be, it has to break away, and I'll feel that, so I know. He's going to punch me. Well, I stop him here. Now look where he is. I've got this arm. This one's failed. I've dropped my head out of the perceived attack line. Just think about this. He grabs. I stabilize. My head is already moving because I perceive the attack line. Maybe he gets a little piece of me. Real fights are like that. But bam, now I know where I'm going. It's all over. Once I got into this point, it's all over. Bam, I stop the punch. I reach down, bam, bam, bam. Then maybe it's some Chinese train wrecks. Some closing remarks. This tape is concentrated on the atemi techniques, the striking techniques to vital parts of the body. Yet a total self-defense system must, of course, include avoiding the punch and how to open up your man in order to achieve the opportunity to strike to those vulnerable areas. While this film has concentrated on atemi technique, there is much more to a fighting system than